There are different barriers that veterans run into when transitioning into civilian life. Some veterans are unaware of their benefits because they never learned about them or how to access them. Service members are required to complete a transition course 6 months prior to the end of their service. The course covers all of the various benefits that are available to them. However, this has not always been mandatory, leaving many veterans to separate without taking the course or unaware of the benefits until later. Army veteran Deshaun Brooks talks about the barriers he had to overcome during his transition out of service.
It was 2 weeks removed from me being in Kuwait, and I just really didn't understand that there needed to be a decompression period from when I was in Iraq, from when I was in Kuwait, to when I was going back to doing something that was as stressful as going to school. At the time, I was unaware of the VA hospital and the resources that they offered and things of that nature. So I just tried to deal with it on my own. It's just because of the circumstances of how I left that I probably missed out on that opportunity.
The executive director of One Community Now, Patty Templeton, talks about the communication barriers that come between veterans and resources.
I would say maybe 45 and older. Those vets struggle with a lot of the social media type things because they just don't have access to it. Most of them don't have computers, and especially if they're homeless, they don't. Most of them have a phone, but what I see, a lot of them don't even know how to use their phones. They don't always have access, of course, to internet. Maybe some restaurants or the library, they can get it, but it's just tough for them to get on the internet for things.
Policy barriers have also kept veterans from receiving their benefits, typically due to the characterization of discharge. A veteran who receives a less than honorable discharge is not afforded the same access to benefits as a veteran who received an honorable discharge. Unfortunately, one policy that was used to dictate a veteran's discharge characterization has already been revisited due to its discriminatory intent.
For most of this country's history, homosexuals were not allowed to serve in the military. Service members found to be gay were discharged, often less than honorably. That was a black mark that affected their future benefits and their job opportunities, too.
An estimated 14,000 service members during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell era under President Clinton's administration were forced out with a less than honorable discharge due to their sexual orientation, and therefore did not qualify for the veteran benefits.
The issue is whether men and women who can and have served with real distinction should be excluded from military service solely on the basis of their status.
Marine Corps veteran and current director of the LGBTQ Resource Center at George Mason University, Josh Kinchin, along with Navy and Marine Corps veteran Joseph Rocha, now serving as a state attorney, share their experiences of discrimination while serving in the military.
So then I got stationed at Lejeune, right? And I was stationed with infantry, so I was part of 6th Marine Regiment headquarters. And then I met some senior enlisted and some officer gay Marines, essentially, and they started to mentor me and say, hey, you need to have a woman, right, in your life pose as your partner if you are with a guy. Otherwise, you're going to get investigated, right? NCIS people were at the club all the time, trying to find Marines and sailors who were gay. Like, the amount of energy that they put and money they put into that was insane.
They had processed people out under Don't Ask, Don't Tell for getting caught. They had never processed somebody out for outing themselves. So they literally didn't know what to do with me. The admiral had decided that I was welcome to stay if I would take it back. And so this became a conflict on 2 levels. One was I had already faced my fears and outed myself to the government. So the idea of taking it back felt wrong. What I said to the 06 was, while I appreciate this in some fashion, you guys can't protect me forever. I knew that no one could protect me anymore. I'd already experienced it.
While Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed in 2010 under President Obama's administration, only 1,375 discharge upgrade applications have been granted, leaving many veterans without resolution due to the military's effort to conceal discrimination.
There's a lot of cases where they would try to find a way to bring something else in so it wasn't a pure don't ask, don't tell discharge, and that way they could give the bad paperwork.
They trumped up charges, basically. It was like, UA, or, they would start writing them bad performance evaluations, right?
We're kicking this kid out because they're gay, but then they're like, well, you need to find something else so we can downgrade the characterization. Fraternization's an easy one.
VA healthcare policies have also limited veterans to how much access they have to medical care. VA dental care can only be offered to veterans who have received a 100% rating or service-connected disability related to dental.
Service-connected being that you receive some type of dental treatment for something, implants in some cases, whereas they will actually work specifically on that service-connected injury, and or 100%. Your whole dental care is taken care of through the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Unfortunately, this makes up only 15% of the 9 million veterans who are enrolled in VA healthcare eligible for free dental services, leaving most of the veteran population at a disadvantage.
Remember, everything is written, it's a federal mandate. So when you get into everything that's written federally in a doctrine, back to the point of fair isn't a concept of how things are written.
Currently, only half of the veteran population is enrolled in VA healthcare. Some veterans have chosen not to accept the support due to different social barriers. Marine Corps veteran Logan Angle sheds light on her reservations about initially using VA healthcare.
While I was in, I was exposed to MST, military sexual trauma, and I had not dealt with that appropriately. And so I was having some issues when I got out. I wasn't going to the doctor. I wasn't seeking any kind of care that I desperately needed. So survivors, one, they don't trust the system that had been a hand in their original experience. The DoD and VA working so close together, if the DoD didn't step up, didn't believe them, which is a really common occurrence, regardless of the initial experience of MST, the process that happens afterwards is also traumatizing, because this is an organization that's supposed to protect you, and they don't. They fail to do that. So it creates a very strong wall between that individual and the world around them.
Another notable factor discouraging veterans from using VA healthcare is a lack of trust in the VA system. Navy veteran Dean Bloomfield offers his perspective on the issue.
It's funny, I went to Navy Medical so many times. I was there pretty much every week, and they would just routinely send me home with Tylenol. And then somehow, at the end of my service, they don't know where my files are. A separation from the VA from the military in terms of how they show themselves would be a good start for me personally, but branding themselves separate from the military would help me trust them more.
To address the numerous barriers that disconnect veterans from accessing available support, we must effectively bridge the gap and eliminate the social stigma within the veteran community.